Yes. And we are back for episode number 92 of the Swoosh Shoes podcast.
Yes,
So
sirs.
we got the whole crew back. We got myself, EricL, aka a new coach incoming, Ernest, aka the year 23. We got Armani, aka the biggest hater. And we got Josh, aka Why Do I Like Basketball? And yes, sirs, whatever the hell that shit
Yo, and
means.
shout out to Wingstop. Not the
Yeah,
Wingstop on the Knicks.
this episode is we trying to get a sponsorship, y'all. So yeah, Wingstop, holla at us, man.
They ain't listen to us. Anyway, so on tonight's episode, we're going to recap the conference finals. Thunder beating the T-Wolves in 5 games, and the Indiana Pacers beating the Knicks in 6 games. We got the NBA Finals set of Pacers and the Thunder. But first, from earlier today, news from the airwaves saying that Knicks have relieved Tom Thibodeau of his duties as head coach of the Knicks. Some came as a surprise, but for some it didn't come as a surprise. There have been some rumblings during these playoffs that there have been issues of rotations, of what roles were defined or lack of roles were defined. How the bench, how many minutes the bench was playing, the amount of minutes the starters would get in during the series, during the playoffs. So at the end of the day, the Knicks felt like they needed a new voice. And also the fact that the way the Knicks lost to the Pacers in the conference finals, losing the first 2 games at home, especially losing game 1 by blowing a 14-point lead with 5 minutes to go, a 9-point lead with 50 seconds to go, and lose it in overtime, and then losing game 2, and then the way they lost game 4, the lack of playing the bench, and there's lack of rotation, and the lack of defense, the defensive discipline, and just culminating into losing the series in 6 by a Pacers team that was just better than them. Halliburton had a big series. Siakam named MVP of the conference finals, had a monster series. Who else? Jeez. I'm still trying to get over it, so bear with me. So the fact that Ben Mac,
Andrew Toppin
and Andrew Nemhard and Aaron Neesmith hounding Jalen Brunson 94 feet.
I told y'all to watch out for Andrew Nemhard, man. I said it on the last episode, yo.
So yeah, so that was the conclusion, and it was just 9 across for the Knicks. But as for the Pacers, they felt confident coming into that series, knowing that they can wear down the Knicks based on the rotation that they play and the amount of minutes that the starting 5 will play. And
not only that, though, they was able
to play.
But they was able to pressure full court and then run on every possession on offense. While the Knicks, you're setting up your offense.
The Knicks makes.
You're setting up your offense 10 seconds into the shot clock because Jalen Brunson's getting pressured 94 feet. And instead, which is like they went to this in game 6. If you noticed, Raquel Bridges breaking up the ball a lot because Brunson was getting pressured. You know what I'm saying? And like it clearly took Brunson out of his game. The Pacers just did a great job of just adjusting and applying just defensive pressure to the Knicks because there's one ball handler on the team. There's one playmaker on the team. And the Pacers were able to neutralize that. And, Cat, he gets in foul trouble for no reason sometimes. He gets trigger happy with the 3, and he legit had there was no resistance resistance at the rim for him. But it's man, they were just flatly outplayed, and the Pacers were a better team.
I agree. The Pacers was the pace was just too much for the Knicks, and the fact that you're scoring, 110, 120 every single game, you fell right into the Pacers' hands. You know what I mean? It also didn't help that the Pacers was playing like a 10-man rotation, so you got fresh bodies, coming off the bench, way to like fuel the game, create energy, while the Knicks is playing like a nine-man rotation. So, and they know that Brunson is the point of attack. So, like Ernest mentioned, outside of Brunson, there's nobody else who's doing the playmaking. Mikal struggled this season. I mean, he struggled this series, and I was kind of hoping that he was going to be like that second option.
Now
Like
you had it right the first time. You didn't have to correct yourself.
I was kind of hoping that he was going to be like that second option in the series, like he was in Boston. But that just kind of shows what the Knicks needed. But like I said, they just fell right into the Pacers' hands. The Pacers play with energy. You get fresh bodies off the bench, and just look what happens. So
Guys, for all you who tuned into the last show,
Here we go.
everybody, every single one of these guys here
yes, sirs.
picked
We said
the
it.
Knicks in 6.
We said it. You right.
Everyone here said it, except for one. The guy who doesn't like basketball anymore. Me. I saw it. Underrated. The Pacers have been underrated for this whole year. People hate on Hallie. I get why. Little
Rightfully
corny.
so.
Little corny. You know what
He
I mean?
falls in the same bucket as Tatum in terms of like corniness.
Yeah, kind of, but
Yeah.
he at least shows more personality than Tatum.
I just think that like he was labeled overrated, and then like Sun just took off. Like he had 32-12 with like no turnovers, bro.
Mhm.
That's insane.
And what
32,
lit,
12, and 15 in
And
game
15 with no turnovers.
what lit that fire in him? It wasn't that overrated poll. Wasn't from like people like us. It was his peers.
Yeah, his team. Yep, people in the league.
So it really lit a fire under him. So I'm glad Hallie was able to prove people wrong. I always like when people prove people wrong.
Mhm.
And this Pacer team, like I said, they handled a 60-win first seed Cavs team like it was nothing. And we just looked at it like, the Knicks still go beat them because it's New York versus Indiana. Listen, I'm always New York over everything, but there's one thing I can't get behind. It's that orange and blue.
You ain't wrong, bro.
Siakam, running spin man. He made me so proud.
Siakam.
He made me so proud. But really, all trolling aside, it was a tough series for the Knicks. Brunson did all he can. As you see, yes, Brunson is great as the leader of the team. When Becky Hammond said something about it, people wanted to kill her. And you see why. A guy like Brunson, it's harder for those guys of that height to be the leader of the team. And we saw it because there's no offense. Brunson is great. He's special. It was just, it's hard.
When was the last time we seen a guard lead their team to a championship and win? Isaiah Thomas?
To
a
championship.
Like an undersized, because
Allen
Steph is like
Iverson.
Allen Iverson never won a championship.
It was Zeke.
Oh, to a championship. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Zeke is the only one other than Steph.
Yeah,
and even people will say Steph, and even
what is this? Steph is like what 6'2",
6'3",
6'2", 6'3", right?
And even if you want to extend that, is D
But
he's like 6'3", but he's an ultra athlete.
Yeah.
I mean, so
Mhm.
it's hard, and people kill Becky Hammond for that. And
Mhm.
we've seen what it is. It's a lot of workload for a guy who's Armani's height, bro. Guy's 5'10", man. I don't care. He is not 6 foot. He is 5'10", and he's a hell of an athlete for cooking people at 5'10" like that on a regular.
Yeah.
But it hurts, and then another thing that hurts is having him, your best two players who don't play defense. That's tough. You can't keep them both on the floor and then have it be effective against a good team. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then also, like I said, you have a thin bench, who doesn't exudes talent and stuff like that. So it's like not many times you can go to them and rely on them because like they really haven't given you nothing, all season. But when you do, it's just kind of like you're matching up their bench versus like Indiana bench. Like think of the guys who's coming off of Indiana's bench, and that's the special thing about Indiana. Like all those guys can shoot. All of those guys can shoot, and like Indiana's like really good at moving the ball. They all play together. Whereas like New York Knicks basketball, you're gonna get like isolation ball, and I mean like just kick out, shoot type deal, right? So like those guys that's coming off the bench, they're not really getting a feel for it. And when they do, they just know that they have a short leash. Unlike Indiana, like they know they can be in the game for a long period of time where they can actually affect the game.
Look at the green light TJ McConnell had.
Exactly, But like even last year, he was like their sixth man coming off the bench. I would say like probably now like this year seventh because the emergence of Andrew Nembhard. But like still, just the confidence that those guys have coming off the bench, knowing like, all right, I know if I make a mistake, I know I can still get burned because I know I can affect the game because I know the guys that's coming off the Knicks bench is not gonna I'm not gonna get outplayed by those guys, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because initially before the series started, I was looking at the matchup and I was like, the way Donovan Mitchell averaged 34 in that series, I'm like, Brunson can do just about the same, but they also have Cat, which I didn't think they had a matchup for. And then I just thought at the very least OG or Mikal will have a good series to along with those two guys. So, but it didn't happen. It's the Pacers were very smart applying pressure 94 feet. Wind stop. The Pacers were very smart applying pressure. I didn't realize like how bad the Knicks were devoid of a playmaker because Josh Hart was unplayable in the series.
He was playing 36 minutes after he got benched.
Yeah. So, and then you couple that with the bench production wasn't there. It wasn't matching Indiana's bench production clearly. McBride even had a tough series. He was he had a couple of bright spots here and there, but for the most part, he didn't really show up. So, when you're depending on DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet at this point of the season, and no disrespect to those guys, yeah, and no disrespect to those guys, obviously, they're NBA players. But
this is the reason why Campaign didn't play in the series.
But also, you see, like what being for real, what championship contender is going to have those guys on the roster, let alone have them in the game. So, it's just a part of this is obviously the players' fault. They didn't perform well. The turnovers were inexcusable. Multiple games they had over 10 turnovers in the series. So
and for those who was arguing that play about like McBride stepping out of bounds, first of all, if you in a 2-on-1 fast break situation, I know today's current NBA is all about shooting the three, better percentage and stuff like that. But if you're in a 2-on-1 fast break, if y'all look at that play again, McBride could have ran to the basket and y'all could have created a 2-on-1 advantage. There's no reason why he's running to the 3-point line. And I mean, like it was the basket was taken away because he stepped out of bounds. Even if he did, still, run to the basket, create a 2-on-1 advantage. That's all I'm saying. But it was just like a lot of dumb basketball that I was witnessing, and like it didn't help that you're on the road in the game 6 in a must-win situation. You know what they say, role players play better on the road. Thomas Bryant was looking like Ray Allen, you know what I mean? So he's just feeding off that energy. You just kind of like just digging yourself a deeper hole. And the whole time I'm watching this game, I'm like, you know what? Because the Knicks kept chipping into the lead no matter what. Indiana kept pulling away. Knicks kept finding a way to kind of like get back into the game. And once that home crowd gets involved, once those role players get involved, dumb fouls, dumb turnovers. There was one play where I watched Andrew Nembhard and I think Tyrese, they blitzed the pick and roll on Brunson, got a steal, easy layup. I was like, you know what? It's cooked. It's cooked because you got to a game 6 and you still haven't figured this out. Still haven't figured it out. So
it was the defensive lapses, too, by the Knicks. That
how many floaters did Tyrese Halliburton get in a row?
Too many. Or
because
just
they're playing and they're playing drop coverage, and I'm like, why are you playing drop coverage on a team that can shoot threes?
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Even the communications on the screens, like you could tell, like,
well, it's been like that all year long. So
yeah, and it reared its head a lot in this series. We saw Cat arguing with, who was it, Brunson,
Mikal
and OG.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just like stuff like that. Then Cat has to be better in that instance. Like, how can you, when you're the big on defense, you have to learn how to communicate, how to slide your feet properly, so you could give your other defenders a better chance at recovering and just having the whole team aspect of defense be better. So that's what I'm like. I feel like the Tibbs thing was scapegoated because some of that stuff, like I said, a guy like Cat with all those defensive mislapses, it's like,
I mean,
come on.
So
I think it's twofold. A part of me is like Tibbs was scapegoated because of the lack thereof of the personnel on the roster, which is directly responsible. Is the person directly responsible is Leon Rose for that. But also the flip side to that is if it's been like this all season with the miscommunication and not understanding a defensive scheme in a certain way, like maybe they tuned him out. It could be that too, where it was just like, all right, like we were just tired of the same because what he's trying to implement isn't working. So I think it's twofold. And I personally do think it was time for a change. Like I think Tibbs has brought them to the he like whatever ceiling that he had with them. Like I think this was it, because think about it. If Boston was, and I get it they were still up 2-0, even with Boston fully healthy, but there was still this dark cloud. Like, yeah, Boston still may come back and win this damn series. And I think either way, I think they probably decided at that point, like, if we lose to Boston, he's definitely getting fired.
Oh yeah.
But if we lose to the Pacers to a team that they probably felt that they should have beaten, he was on chopping block. So
I mean, put it like this: anything less than the championship, he was getting the boot. Anything.
See, that part I don't necessarily agree with, because any basketball like mind would think they have no chance against Boston or Cleveland, because we've seen them not be successful during the regular season against them. And there's been no evidence whatsoever. So it's like, I understand what you're saying, but also like, were they really proud to win a championship? And on the top of that, even if they got to the finals, we all knew they was going to get bludgeoned by OKC. So
yeah,
it still would have been almost out of the realm of possibility, like they wouldn't, And don't get me wrong, like if you get there because you don't know what can happen, right? But I like to believe that you had a legit shot to win a chip. Like, yeah, you had a legit shot to get to the finals. As soon as Jason Tatum went down, it was like there's a real legitimate opportunity here. Yes, but I think from the beginning, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Eric, talk to us, man.
Yeah, this is a safe space. ISO, man.
Yeah.
Listen. So he's been there for 5 years. He's been there for 5 years. He got the Knicks out the gutter. So, I mean, I appreciate what he's done, getting to the Knicks in the playoffs for the last 5 years while he was here. Increasing his win total every year since 2022. I mean, Brunson ran from Julius Randle to Jalen Brunson, Josh Hart, OG Anunoby. I mean, he's done a really good job here, but it's like what he likes is like basically the same old record in Chicago with the Bulls and also with the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's like there's a cap when he leads, and it's like, okay, like at some point, are you going to change your ways, or are you going to go with your same methods to get your team over the hump? And he was more of this is the way I run. This is the way I rotate my players. This is the way I run my system, and it's going to get to where I need to go. It was good for the regular season, but as far as the playoffs, he's always come up short. Either second round, first round, conference finals. I think he has the most wins without an NBA Finals appearance as head coach. So
that's nuts.
I mean, he's going to leave as like the fourth winningest coach in Knicks history. So that's saying something, but at the same time, with this move, it's signaling that, hey, this team is on the verge of trying to win it all. And stop, Josh. Stop. Okay.
He's fourth? He's top 5?
Yeah.
And got wins already?
Yeah.
Not been a team in the NBA since the beginning of time.
He has passed Pat Riley.
That's news to me too, as well.
He passed Pat Riley.
Wow.
This year.
That's wild.
That's kind of crazy. I ain't gonna lie.
I know. Yeah. Like I think he has like 226 wins as Knicks head coach. So
that's a bad and a good thing.
Yeah.
So if you get the tea, so if you read the tea leaves, the national media don't like this move at all. They're like, oh, here goes same old Knicks, LOL, and the Knicks is doing this again. Here the Knicks is doing it again. But at the same time, the Knicks fan base is like, finally, because we as a fan base feel like there's the Knicks team has way more to accomplish than what he had done with Tibbs, and the way that the way he runs his offense is like, at some point he needs to get way more creative, and he's not doing enough to be more creative.
Yeah, like the Brunson ball pounding,
it's like, come on, bro.
He got to get off the ball. He got to get off the ball a little bit.
Like we haven't seen, like in the beginning of the season, we were seeing a little bit of the Brunson and Towns pick and roll. Since All-Star break, like even since January, we haven't seen none of that. We haven't seen none of that in the playoffs. So we was looking for that. We was looking for off ball from OG, off ball from Brunson, on ball for Mikhail, and then on top of that, it's like why are you not playing the bench more minutes? Like, you're running our stars, you start running our starting 5 major minutes. Like, at some point, it's gonna catch up to us, and unfortunately, it reared its ugly head. during that series against the Pacers. Last year, it was so ridiculous that the entire roster was injured. So it was like, okay, someone's got to give. So,
Well, who do you want as the next head coach?
so obviously, I want Johnny Bryant, but I know he's in that last running of the Suns job. I'm hearing rumblings about Jay Wright from Villanova, but I'm not sure about that. It makes no sense.
What?
Yo CAA,
That would be
bro,
a disaster.
Yo,
Facts.
That would be a disaster.
Also, Mike Malone, but they say no. Hell no, he's Tibbs 2.0, basically.
yeah, we don't like Mike Malone.
Yeah.
Also,
We don't like
also,
Mike
Me and my
Malone.
homies don't like Mike Malone.
Yeah.
Jerry Stackhouse, because he was also in the running when the last time the Knicks had the opening job as head coach. He's with the Warriors.
We don't like Sam Cassell as an option.
Also, Sam Cassell, there was an option from the Celtics. Chris Quinn for the Miami Heat.
Out of everybody, I feel like Sam Cassell is like most deserving of getting a head coach role.
As to me, for me, I'd rather have I need a young coach. No more retreads. No Mike Budenholzer. No Mike Malone. No Mike Brown. No Mark Jackson. Hell no.
He had the coach in 10 years. Like,
yeah,
I don't think he's grown to that.
Jeff Van Gundy maybe, but I'm not sure if the Nick Brass don't want it back, especially Dolan.
Could have had JJ, but I got a name.
Listen, who?
I got a name. And
wait.
And I got a name.
Wait.
Darvin Ham. Really?
Listen. The reason why it's two names. It's two names. The first name is Darvin Ham, right?
Oh gosh.
The reason one is for my own personal joy.
No.
You know what I'm saying? He could go hard on them dudes.
Why, Eric, and this is why you don't have them root for you. You see, they want to laugh at you.
Exactly.
You see and he was accepting them, like, yeah, we beat the Celtics, yeah. But this is what they're gonna do. As soon as you turn around and stab you in the back, and twist the knife.
Look, get Darvin Ham. That's automatically coming with Torian Prince. So you're gonna have a shooter. You feel me? Automatically coming with Torian Prince and Dennis Schroeder. Somehow he's gonna get out of his contract with Detroit. You're gonna be with the Knicks, right?
I'm gonna tell you something. If Leon Rose hires, if he hires Darvin Ham, I want him fired.
Yo, man.
And the second name I'll throw out there because he has to be in the spotlight. He tends to do that a lot as a head coach. And he had no problem with doing it last summer. He had no problem doing it during the tournament. And I damn sure know he will have no problem throwing his name in this fray.
I know he's going.
Dan Hurley.
I already knew it.
I can see
That's
Dan Hurley.
Job.
That's his dream job. Where you going, Eric? I'm telling you. Listen.
That is his dream job, bro.
He stays on the East Coast. He's close to the home because remember, he couldn't take the Lakers job because his wife
The
said,
king of the crash out.
We're going to leave the East Coast. I'm just saying.
The king of the college crash out.
I will not be surprised.
No.
I will not be surprised if Dan Hurley
stays ass in stores.
I will not be surprised if Dan Hurley's your next head coach.
Stay ass in stores, bro.
I'm just saying.
You better stay ass in stores. That's all I'm saying right now.
I know. You don't put your name in the hat to be an NBA coach for the Lakers, right? And then then you drop yourself out to not feel the waters.
Mm-hmm.
You don't just do that out of a whim.
I got a name for you, Eric. I think you will love this name.
Who?
Mr. Milk Dud himself, Jock Vaughn.
If he hires Jacques Vaughn, I'm firing him too.
Remember, wait,
Well,
remember
Jacques Vaughn is actually can't because he just went back to college.
He went back to college?
Yes.
Oh, man, damn.
Didn't they say
Good.
like Lloyd Pierce?
Yeah, I heard
Yeah.
Lloyd Pierce in the
Yeah,
Pacers. I'm like, what the hell?
Scoop B.
I
Scoop
saw
B
that.
said,
I'm like, yo, like if you
said Lloyd Pierce is the
swear.
main.
Lloyd Pierce.
Yeah, Lloyd Pierce is crazy. You know, but you never know. It could be Steve Nash. You know, shout out to my in the game.
1-4 flats. Just I'm
know
telling
what?
you, get
You
ready
know
for
what?
that.
I wouldn't
Yeah,
mind
flat
Steve
Nash.
You know what? I
Yeah.
wouldn't mind Steve Nash. I wouldn't mind Steve Nash. Right
He
the wrong.
easily-
Right
No,
the
you
wrong.
don't.
Right the
No,
wrong
you
from
do
Brooklyn.
don't.
the job with
Right
Katie
the
and
wrong from
Kyrie.
Brooklyn.
No,
You think
Okay.
he's gonna do something with
No, you
Cat and
don't.
Brunson?
No, you don't. No, you don't. Eric, you don't. That man.
You do a Eric. You do a pod with Bron. You good, son. Trust me.
Right.
Listen,
Eric,
listen.
Eric,
He learned
listen to
his
me.
ways. He learned
Stop it.
his mistakes.
Eric,
He
listen
learned
to
his
me, bro.
mistakes. He learned
I
his
seen
mistakes.
him run 1-4 flat for a whole playoffs, bro. They didn't change no philosophy. And if you think the lineups were bad with Tibbs, he's gonna have a lineup out there of Brunson, Shamit, DeLon Wright, McBride, and Cat. As I'm telling you, that's gonna be. He loves his 4 guard lineups. I saw a playoff rotation of Kyrie, Steph Curry, Shamit. Shamit was on that team too.
Steph Curry.
In case you forgot, he had all them guards around KD running 1-4 flat.
I don't know what's worse. Either that or Darvin Ham ran the all forward lineup, starting 5. He said Rui, Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron, Torian Prince, and I don't even think it was Austin Reeves. It might have been D'Lo. I was like, that's the starting 5.
I would
Yeah,
rather that.
Yeah, we lost by 40. Yeah,
But bro, he played Shamit and Patty Mills at the same time, bro.
yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
I'm telling you, Eric.
You don't want Steve Nash, bro. You don't want him.
He
Bro.
gonna be hugging Brunson like he hugged KD.
Exactly. Brunson saved his ass in the first round.
I ain't gonna lie, that's some funny ass pictures.
Yeah, it is. It is.
Funny ass.
There's a I think there's a assistant coach on the Thunder. I forget his name though. I'll probably look into him.
I mean, look, man.
You think it's gonna be like a big search that y'all do?
I don't think so. I think it's gonna be quick. I think if the Suns choose the other candidate, Johnny Bryant is their head coach.
Okay.
I think because I think there's a reason, and there was a reason why they made the move today or like yesterday, because once the reports came out as Johnny Bryant was one of the last couple of candidates for the Suns job, I think they was like contemplating making that move. And also they had
What about
like their exit meetings or their reevaluation like right after the series, and there were players on the team saying like, hey, our roles weren't defined. There were constant miscommunications, and we don't, and this is from the players from the meetings, and Leon Rose and Dolan was there in the meetings. So
what about Taylor Jenkins?
I wouldn't mind.
You know, he had success of the same type of hybrid team, like you know, you had a ball dominant star guard and Ja. Now you with Brunson, and you have your big, you know, like JJ, Triple J, and Cat.
You got
You
good
know,
wings.
so
Good
yeah,
wings.
you know,
Yeah.
that's an option. Monty Williams.
Hell no.
Hell.
So yeah, I mean,
with the Pistons.
yeah. So James Borrego's another name out there.
I'll take a look at him.
But yeah, the Knicks gotta they gotta figure something out fast because obviously with the draft coming up in a few weeks,
and also,
and they're clearly trying to go big name hunting, or let me not to say big name. They're going to be very aggressive in improving this roster. So you want to make sure you have your coach intact because you don't want to hire a coach after the fact you made trades because then you want to make sure the coach philosophy matches with the certain plays that you're targeting. So I think the Knicks are going to move pretty fast here. And I also believe that I think the Nova Nick experiment is over. I don't think they're as I have reason to believe that I don't think that the whole Hart, Brunson, McHale thing is so tied together that they're, I think there's opportunity to explore. I think Josh Hart is the one that gets explored, but we'll see.
I mean, not shocking.
Did I win?
And also, I think the reason why they had to make this move because with the CBA, there's no, I think there's no certainty that you're gonna keep this core with 3 to 4 years, and along with that coach, trying to build around the coach, and it's like, now with this CBA,
so maybe those picks won't be in the mid-20s for all those years.
Well, if they get Giannis, you can forget about those picks, brother. Those picks won't be worth nothing.
For them to get Giannis, they got to get rid of 2 starters. I'll take the bait with that.
You got to understand the cap is going to go up. There's going to be more money. If they trade those 2 starters, the Knicks will be able to rebuild around a roster of Brunson and Giannis. Guys are going to want to come there and take pay cuts.
Milwaukee's not taking that deal without OG in the deal, bro. Right. And that is gonna shake up the Knicks foundation.
I mean, we'll see.
You don't think so? Why you smiling? Like
we'll see. I don't think OG is gonna be in that deal, but
or you think it's gonna be McHale?
Could be. Could be.
If I'm Milwaukee, I'm saying OG and Cap right now. That's it. That's what I want. That's what I
hang up.
Yeah. I don't think that happens.
Okay. Houston.
Yeah.
People forget. People forget, man. The only GM in the league that can make deals the way he want them is Rob Pelinka, man. That's it. He's the only one. That's it, bro. That's it. That's it. He's the only one that gets the special deals, man. That's it. Respect the Don and leave it alone, man. That's it. That's it. But as I said, the Knicks season ends and the Pacers season continues. They face a very formidable team in the NBA Finals called the Oklahoma City Thunder, who were able to gentlemen sweep, the Minnesota Timberwolves. And is it me or Game 7 in the semifinals versus the Nuggets was the NBA finals, quote unquote?
Yeah,
I feel like
it was because the Thunder even said it themselves, they wanted to be tested, and now that they was able to get over this hump, now it's just looking like, especially no disrespect to Indiana Pacers, but it's going to be great basketball, but the Thunder is the favorite for winning the championship. So
big favorites.
The big favorite. So, credit to the Thunder, won 68 games and they had to get over that hump. Even though the Thunder was still the number 1 seed in the league, even though Denver was still going into their struggles throughout the season, it still was, what is Jokic going to do? And we seen it at one moment. We was looking at the playoffs. We was like, yo, the Thunder look kind of shaky right now. We was in the group chat talking about it. J-Dub is not holding his own. He's inconsistent. You know, even though Jokic is struggling, they still finding a way to pull out wins. Aaron Gordon was still doing his thing. But when the Thunder was able to lock in, we see how that game 7 looked. That pretty much let us know, like, yeah, this is for here on. Even though I was rooting for I was rooting for the Timberwolves.
Whoa.
I slipped up.
Whoa. Yo, you a sleeper? You a sleeper cell? You a secret agent?
Nah. I was rooting for Ant-Man. To get the job done, but unfortunately, they just ran up against a superior Thunder team. You know what I mean? But yeah, to your point, Thunder Nuggets. That was the NBA Finals right there, low key.
Yeah, I mean, I look the Thunder. I don't believe it's going to be as lopsided as people like think. I do think though there's going to be a game where OKC looks completely dominant because Indiana goes through these weird stretches of basketball where they don't score, they don't defend, they give up a lot of easy baskets, things. And it might be a competitive gentleman's sweep, in my opinion. I think OKC beats them in 5, but I think it's a little bit closer than what people think. I don't believe it's going to be a total sweep and a total just dominance where, like, some people are talking about like, I'm not going to say the network, but
sweep.
You got media people think it's going to be a sweep, but in the fashion of when, and Josh, I'm sorry, but in the fashion of when the Lakers played the Nets in the finals. Like that dominance. And I'm just like, I don't see that at all.
No.
I don't see that at all. So
you could have used other examples, like recent memory of the Nuggets versus the Heat, but okay. But the reason why I use that word dominance is because like Shaq was just so it was no competition. That, and that aside from the 2017 finals,
yeah,
right, where it was, the Cavs were there, cool, but they was not beating KD and Steph and the Warriors like that, like something that's just like foregone conclusion. Doesn't matter what they do, OKC is going to walk through them. I don't think it's that, like, because in order for OKC to really like be to win this series convincingly, Jaden Williams, he got to, don't get me wrong, he's stepped up in the last series, but like he has to match Siakam's output in order for them to I think ensure their win. Like Chet, I think Chet's matchup against Miles Turner is pretty solid. I'm interested to see how what Indiana does, because they're starting 5 in comparison to OKC. Starting 5, they're smaller.
Yeah,
they run Turner at the 5. Your 4 is Siakam. Your 3 is Nesmith. Your 2 is Nembhard, and your 1 is Tyrese Halliburton. So I'm interested to see what they look like against a bigger starting 5.
So is Andrew Nembhard going to guard SGA like the same way he did against Brunson?
I mean, yeah,
he has to.
You should. The Pacers should pressure him.
Yeah,
the same way they did Brunson. You're playing against another. Now, here's the thing: like Brunson is a smaller guard. Shea is all 6'6", 6'7". Mm-hmm. So there's a difference. He can see over the top of the defense, and his pace. I'm interested to see how the refs call the game, because Shea does a lot of foul baiting, and that's part of the game. The objective is to get to the line and get easy baskets, obviously. And you can't blame, I guess, what you call flopping. What he does is his fault. if the defense is playing aggressive, you have to counter that somehow. So, it's going to be interesting, because it's number one defense versus number one offense. So we're going to see what prevails.
Yeah. So what we saying? Well, Ernest, we already got your take.
I got OKC in 5.
Josh, go ahead.
I think honestly, we just been overlooking what this OKC team has been all year.
We have.
They 68-win team. One of the best defenses and offense that we saw all year.
Mm-hmm.
The best net rating, a better net rating than the 2017 Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take that lightly. Like,
and they up there with the 96 Bulls. When you put them in that same stratosphere, it's kind of like wait, hold on, wait, what?
These are the teams of the teams that people talk about greatest teams ever, and they hitting those marks is just like, okay, man, it's their year. It has to be their year, and not to say like everything went right with them because they had a lot of injuries too. They played without Hartenstein for most of the year. They played without Chet for most of the year. So it's just everything is going right for them, man.
Caruso was out for a lot of time. Too.
Yeah. And I think they're just going to finish it out strong. They have everything to counter Indiana. They have the defenders to throw at all their key guys, from Caruso to Casey Wallace to Lou Dort to I'm missing somebody.
Aaron Wiggins.
Isaiah Joe.
Isaiah Joe.
They're a very deep team, man. Lou Dort.
But they're a very deep team, and J-Dub is also a good defender, and Hartenstein is
Jalen Williams.
Yeah, so it's just I think if the Pacers do win one game, they always have a game where they come back down 20, 25. And that's going to be the game. And then OKC, they're just going to be like, next game, you know who we are?
I mean, remember when they got blown out? They got blown. Well, yeah. Was it Denver? Where I don't know if it was a blowout or it was a close game, whatever. But they lost, and SGA is smiling, walking off the court.
Yeah.
I was like, oh,
that was game 3.
Yeah, it was game 3.
Looks like 3 points.
Yeah.
And he was smiling. I was like, oh,
he had a terrible fourth quarter.
And they won by 40.
They won by 40 the next night. Yeah.
It's kind of it's like they know, it's like they really know. But also, Josh, to your point, like you can't take this Pacers team lightly because they got here for a reason. And even though we thought last year, like, due to injuries and stuff, that's how they was able to make it against the Celtics. But this year, like I said at the top of this episode, they labeled Tyrese Halliburton as overrated. And bro was like, I bet, went through the Bucks, even though the Bucks was dealing with their own thing. Dame had that Achilles injury, unfortunately, get well soon. They beat Giannis. Giannis did everything he could to win that game. They still beat him. Then against the Cleveland series, I believe we all had Cleveland winning that series, but they were injured too. Darius Garland had the bad toe.
So soft injuries too. Like
right.
Play for that.
Tyrese Halliburton had a great comeback. Great, what was it? A game winner, I believe. Game winner, right? And then same thing. Like, so they adapted this underdog mentality. And also I want to say that when the Pacers got Pascal Siakam last year, right, I thought that they was just one piece away from kind of, starting something, but obviously they looked at their core guys, they was able to run it back, and now they're in the finals, which is crazy. And, Siakam just balled out crazy against the Knicks. But overall, if we talk about predictions, I got the Thunder in 6. But I think it's going to be for great basketball. Even though there's no storyline going into it, the two storylines is Thunder wins. They haven't won the championship since they were the Sonics, right? Pacers win. They haven't won the championship in franchise history. So it's like a win-win. We seeing some sort of change in the league, and we have 2 young faces. This is what we want at the end of the day. This is going to project us into the future, and it is what it is.
And that's what's wrong with a lot of you NBA fans. I've been seeing y'all lowest rate. This could be the lowest rated NBA finals. Shut up. If you don't like
Here's what-
basketball, just watch something else, bro.
But here's the thing: if y'all sat through Denver versus Miami, you can sit through this.
Yeah. I mean, but people didn't sit through that either. So people didn't sit through that either. You know what I'm saying?
I don't
It's just
get
like
it. It's
like if you like basketball, then you'll watch the game.
But also, I would say this, right? This is the first time since I want to say 20. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong, but since 2016, where we have the MVP playing in the finals, that was the last time it happened, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
The previous years, we've seen the MVP get knocked out in the second round, first round, conference finals, whatever the case may be. But now we legitimately have the MVP who's on the verge of winning the championship. The last time that happened was Braun back in 2018. So, like, we're kind of witnessing something low-key special in the league. You know what I
2016.
mean? Winning.
Well, no.
Well,
winning. Yeah.
winning and winning the championship. Yeah,
And what
since
about
Braun in 2013.
and what about this? Remember what I sent y'all earlier? This will be the first time that a non-Christmas team.
Yeah. 2 teams that played on Christmas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on.
And SGA, I think, if I'm not mistaken, it might have been since LeBron or Jordan will be the first player to have a scoring title.
It's Jordan.
MVP. Who? It was Jordan, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Scoring title, MVP, and finals MVP, and championship. And he, I'm not counting it, but you can add it on. He got the Western Conference Finals MVP, so he's about to sweep it all.
Amen.
Yeah. That's
Pretty crazy.
We're
It's kinda
watching
crazy.
somebody cement their legacy
In real time.
Playing his
Yeah.
flag in his NBA term. So it's like, if you don't like that, man.
But that's the thing. They like, if you look at what all the greats have done, and during the time of their build, there was always some negative barrage. I always felt that, as a whole, we didn't appreciate, these players' accomplishments in real time. So like when people are like, "Oh, Shea's not, this," or he's a foul baiter, he's like, that's part of the game. It's part of his repertoire. James Harden was a notorious foul baiter.
Come on now.
Kobe foul baited. Like
Allen Iverson. Come on now.
AI. Like all the greats do it.
What are you talking about?
But this is how you know we dealing with younger fans, because I had people complain to me, "Oh, we never saw anything like this. It's not fair, Shades. This is the worst thing ever." And I'm
honestly, Josh, I don't think it's the younger fans, bro. I think it's the older fans that's like they just kind of just tired of basketball. I think it's them. The younger fans love Shea.
With the Shea foul baiting thing.
Yeah, the younger fans, they love Shea. They
then
love
how
that.
do you say that and then you don't blink an eye at D Wade, his finals run? Like,
yeah,
bro, that's what happens because Shea drives to the basket.
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
one of those players that constantly attacks the basket. He's not these guys that, all else fails, sidestep 3, step back 3. He don't do that.
Right.
Like, it's actually a statistic that he drives to the hole 80% of the time. He touches the ball. You're gonna go to the line if that happens.
Especially and I was thinking about this as well too. He's also doing it from the mid-range as well too, which is, some would say it's a lost art, some would say it's not, because you have some players who still kind of like attack and do their damage in the mid-range. But there was 2 plays like I really keyed on this year that like really kind of do they damage in the mid-range, but also even step behind the line and hit the 3. That was Shea and Ant-Man, and look what it's done for them. But also like being able to attack in the mid-range, obviously you get within that box, you get within 15 feet from the rim, and look what happens. You're able to get to the foul line. So like, what's the problem here? I don't know. I just think that talk is nonsense, man.
Jeff Teague said he's saving the NBA, man. Copycat league. They're gonna start taking middies now.
Take the middies, man. Take the middies, man. It's a special
Yeah.
time, man.
Definitely, man. It's gonna be a good finals. Josh, you didn't give us your prediction.
Oh, fuck it, I'm gonna say it, man. Thunder's sweeping them,
The
man.
yes sirs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They sweeping the yes-sirs, man. They sweeping.
I
I was gonna say 5 to give them a little respect, but like,
Eric.
they sweeping.
Thunder in 5. Been the best team.
He
all
out.
year.
He tuned down.
Thunder in 5, bro. Like,
He said this should have been us. This should have been us.
Hey, man, like, as we were all representatives of the city of New York, man. So, like, but besides Josh, just for the city of New York, like we wanted to see the Knicks achieve and go to the finals. We wanted to see that. We wanted this. I said with the exception of you.
Oh,
you
okay.
too, Ernest? Yeah, I said with the exception of you.
I could care less about the Knicks winning the chip.
Yo, you see Eric? You see how he switch up, Eric?
Look, Eric, I'm gonna say this to you, bro. I'm gonna say this to you because I've said it to
Listen, hold on. It would have been nice. Don't get me wrong. Like salute, but I'm not like, oh my god, like the Knicks finally won. Nah, that's not my team. Like
it's one of those things you just gotta take as a New Yorker. For
yeah, like you just basking it because you're in the city. Cool, you know what I'm saying?
And that's it. That's all it is.
But I'm not walking down 7th Ave with a Sprewell jersey.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
I don't want to hear that. Y'all was putting Lakers on Knicks jerseys, man. I don't want to hear that from you.
Look, you remember what they said? You know that saying, the enemy of my enemy is my friend?
That's it. All I cared about was them beating the Celtics. So shit, 18 was to be still in reach.
I told you they true colors.
How?
They get used. That's how it is. I'm sorry.
How? The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
That's it. That's all I cared about.
Just in case,
they're like, yes,
Eric right now, because Eric knows.
Like, yes, they got the Achilles out of here. Mission complete.
Right. Look, I told y'all. My hate watch was completed. The teams that were still in the playoffs that got eliminated, I was cool with that. So now,
my hate watch had to continue.
Well, not for you, but since we had a Thunder Wolves and the Pacers Knicks, I'm like, yo, I could just sit back and watch EC just beat the hell out of each other.
That's it. Not non-agenda basketball. I was the biggest Knicks fan in the second round.
And whoever wins. You feel me? So I mean, that's where we at. But like, I just think for like the city of New York, and like especially for the younger fan base, you know what I'm saying? Like there was people like that I was seeing was like who never I'm 28 years old. I never experienced like nothing what I seen the other night. So just imagine if the Knicks would have won the championship, bro.
Yeah, the Knicks would have won the championship. The city gets shut down.
I don't care. It's not going. Look, Eric, this has nothing to do with you because I didn't know you at the time. Ja and Brian, the only two Knicks fans that I could have decent conversation with that wasn't hating. This is not to y'all, but to them other Knicks fans, I remember what y'all was saying, how y'all was celebrating for the Bucks to beat the Nets. I will never forget that. So I will never root for y'all to win for the city. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. It's always gonna be fuck the Knicks. Ever since y'all showed y'all colors in 2021, when y'all was cheering. Who's the guy from The Wire? The guy from The Wire that's a big Knicks fan. Jonalito. What's his name? The kid.
Oh, Olito.
Who? Yo, he went to Barclays. Listen, I've never forgot that video. That's living in my mind. Armani, after the Bucks won, he went to Barclays. Pitch black is like midnight.
I remember.
Yeah, he had a Knicks jersey on.
And all that.
Stomping on y'all grave. Yeah, y'all thought y'all was going to win. I'm just like, whoa, bro. Like, you're not even nowhere near us. Why you care so much? Since
That's
we
why,
little
man.
brother. So ever since I was seeing the parades, they had space, they was going crazy on Twitter. I don't care. Yo, I will bring this hate 100 times more, bro. So I want it to crumble. And I want it to crumble slow. So y'all feel the pain. So y'all feel it. I don't care about the city. Only me. Only Brooklyn. That's all I care about. Now them guys in Manhattan they put every player on a roster on a city
On a city
for a second round win. For a second round win. Yo, tell me you never been here before. Why don't you just tell me you never been here before? And while I'm at it, fuck Mayor Adams. The biggest Knicks fan ever.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie.
He showed his colors with the vaccine mandate. So.
See why he hated on Kyrie and the Nets, bro.
When I seen the Cameron Payne sign and a Delon Wright,
Come on, bro.
I said, "What are we doing here, bro?"
They had a Tyler Kolick Street. What? Come on, son. Come on, bro. Come on, man.
That is wild. That is wild.
For a second
I'm not
round
gonna
victory.
That was kind of embarrassing, low key. Like I was just like, this is a little too much. Like
a second round victory.
I mean, part of it is this, right? The Celtics has been a rival to the Knicks Boston has been a rival to New York for many years in two different sports, right? So when you finally have the opportunity to eliminate the champions, the team that people say that was the favorite for the whole entire season, no matter what, no matter if the Thunder made the finals, no matter if the Nuggets went the finals, people were saying that the Celtics were going to go back to back no matter what. So when you have the opportunity to eliminate them in the way they did, 2 games down, 20 points, coming back, defensive play to seal the win. You're up 2 in the series, right?
Y'all didn't even win the series. I was just up 2-0.
Just 2-0. Just 2-0 in the series. I mean, yo,
they started building statues for these niggas.
Tell me.
But look, I'm not saying like you can celebrate the victory, but like I get it, and like I would never know what it feels like to be a Knicks fan because I'm not. But like to understand the magnitude that y'all beat the champions, so that means that there's a clear path to the finals. Well, not quite because you got the Thunder on the other end, but then you're looking at the team who's up in the series, in the other series, in the semifinals. You have the Pacers. You're looking at that team like, yo, hey, we getting it back in blood. So we're like, yo, we could actually do this. We can actually make the finals, something that we haven't done in 25 years. So we just off the strength of getting there, we're gonna go crazy. But like I said, y'all beat the Celtics in the second round, right? Y'all beat the champions. Hey, that's a monumental moment. But then also we got to come back down to earth. We got to look at the logistics of it. It's the second round. It's the second round. That's it.
Yo, they made Game 7 hats and it was selling them.
Yeah, that's
not the Knicks, but like I'm just talking the fans. Like
you know what's
like,
funny?
Yo.
And I low-key hate to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. They said that the people in Africa got those Game 7 but they said they got them hats. I'm just like, yo, like that's wild, man. That's wild.
Is what I'm talking about. Y'all keep talking about Nets like little brothers, but this is what happens when y'all won in the second round. Y'all making street signs for all the players. Like, bro, what? Man, sorry, Eric. You know it's not like it's not personal to you and those 2 other Knicks fans I said. The rest of y'all, I can give 2 shits about y'all, bro.
Hey, I get it. I understand. Yeah, it's just
Josh Hart. And Josh Hart.
Yeah. It's just a little. It was just a little excessive for me.
Little.
It's cool to see the Knicks, be competitive and be good and be a contender and all that good stuff.
Right.
It's good for the city.
Right.
You know, but also at the
Didn't
same
Tibbs have a streak too? I think he had a streak too, and he just got fired.
You said who? Tibbs? Tibbs had a
I
streak?
think Tibbs had a streak too, bro.
that's crazy.
Wait. No, real shit. Is those streak signs still up? Are they still up?
I don't know.
That's a good question. I don't
I
know.
don't know. It might be. It might
Are
be
those
up.
streak signs still up? I mean,
Only in
obviously
Manhattan, bro.
I knew it was gonna be up forever. But like, you know, had y'all win the finals, those street signs was gonna like low-key stay there. They were gonna stay there.
Nah, I would have took them down personally.
Yo, you know how heavy them joints are? You ever had a street sign in your hand? Them joints
Yeah.
heavy.
Yeah, they're heavy, bro.
Heavy.
I would have took down Josh Hart's first.
Them joints is heavy, bro.
Yeah, but you know, all in all, like it was a bit much. Especially you're doing that before you even win the series. Like win the series first, you know, like then you can spin it like I was celebrating going to the finals. All right, whatever. Even though I still think it's a bit much, but you did that after just 2 games.
I
Like
mean,
that's
hey,
because imagine if Tatum didn't if Tatum doesn't go down, and for the sake of argument, let's just say the Celtics come back and win that series, then that looks really stupid. So, you know, it's just
I mean, Ernest, I get what you're saying, but like, as the and I mean,
Josh, Armani. Here's the thing: the reason why it's hard for me to accept that in the slightest.
No, absolutely.
Because I'm a fan of a team that only puts up statues and retires jerseys of fucking giants, greats. We're not doing street name. We look like LeBron didn't get no street name. I mean, you know what I'm saying?
The only I can't speak on this because, like I said, I'm not a fan. Right. The only thing we could do is in this case, we can ask Eric how he felt and whether he condoned it or not of being up 2-0. That's the only thing we can ask. Right. And there was thousands of Knicks fans that's out there outside the arena who's going crazy because of their up 2-0. You know what I'm saying?
It's not that. Well, it was not that, but also think about this. You have a large contingent of the Knicks fan base who's younger than 25.
Exactly.
Who's never seen the Knicks go far in the playoffs.
Exactly.
So there were babies when they were like teenagers or babies when the mellow years happened, and it was like there's barely nothing happening except for a second round.
Imagine being a 10-year-old Knicks fan and you're like, yo, we drafted Tingus Pingus. You feel me? Like, and now that Knicks fan is 20 years old, seeing a team go to the conference finals with a very valid chance of making the finals.
So it's like they haven't seen the Knicks succeed in these past like whatever years, like 10, 15 years. So, and it's like they don't have like the Lakers run winning championships. So we're not that.
Well, we're not really running around winning championship. We haven't won a championship since 2020. So we're on a drought right now.
Or to your point, or like star players coming to your team. Like we've had that luxury. We have LeBron. We have Luka. You know what I'm saying?
But
After Melo, it was like.
But it's like the first time they're watching the Knicks team year after year after year making the playoffs, and it's like, okay, we're getting closer to the finals. We haven't been here. But we got a team that can contend for a legit win the championship. Oh, we haven't seen that. So it was like they wasn't around in the 90s when the Knicks were like in the finals, conference finals, losing every year in the second round, losing to Jordan, the Bulls, and all that, going through playoff pains and all that stuff. So this is the first time like that contingent, that whole group is going through this. So it's like, and on top of that's like, if they want to fan like they do, like if they want to fan and do that, and let them fan. Like, and on top of that's like, they're thinking is, I'm not sure if they're gonna be back here, so I'm gonna take advantage of this opportunity to, like, watch them. We're gonna celebrate. I don't care. Hopefully they get it. They win it all during this time frame, and then hey, I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm gonna enjoy the whole ride. So they're gonna have a parade of 7,000 after each playoff win, after each playoff series win, or right ahead. If you want to,
Why did what? You know what's crazy?
Right ahead. Like
why the Nets ain't never have something like that? I was like, like
good question.
No, like I'm like legit. Like how like, and again, like Knick fans are a bit hyperbole.
What are you talking about?
How how Knicks fans were outside the Garden, like celebrating and acting a fool. How come we don't see that with the Nets fans? Is that like
what did we have to celebrate?
Gotcha, noted.
We only seen second round. We haven't seen past second round. Like what is it to celebrate?
That's true. That's true. But yeah, I mean, look. At the end of the day, the Knicks, got to move fast. I do believe, the coach that they do get is going to be the fit for the star that they're trying to get. So we'll see what happens, man. And it's going to be interesting offseason. Obviously, we got the draft coming up in about 3 weeks. So a lot of things going to be shaking and baking in the NBA. And yeah, that's all I got. Anything else, guys?
Nope. Don't have anything.
All good. So until next time, man, peace and love. Take care of yourselves. Watch the finals.
It's going to be good basketball. Okay.
Watch some damn basketball.
Basketball is not just trades, y'all. Watch the games.
Peace and love.
We out.